Hey guys, Phil Baumhardt here. So for today's video, I'll be working on a custom Bowie knife. This is going to be a coffin-handled knife with a long, sharpened false edge. So we're looking for a 11-inch long blade and a 7-inch long handle. So kind of interesting proportions there. And since the last time I did a coffin-handled Bowie was this one. This is technically the first Bowie knife I ever made. I've definitely come a long way, so I figured I'd get the camera out and take you along, and we'll see if we can make something a little bit nicer. So the steel I've been using lately is 80 CRV2. So this is a 2-inch wide by 3/16 inch thick piece of stock here. So this is what I'll be using for the blade. So we'll get it hot and see what I can make. Alright, so we're going to call that good on the preform. We got a nice long clip point set up. A little bit of a forward curve, which is fine because when we hammer out the edge bevels, it'll sweep back upwards and give us the shape we're looking for. So kind of on that third heat there, it got a little too hot. I felt I wasn't getting it hot enough, so I left it in the, I'm using a charcoal forge, so I can't really see it, but so I left it in there a little bit too long, and we started burning off the end. So that's a loss of carbon, which is not great. So this very fine tip there, I purposely did that so that I can lose that without an issue, and we don't have the very tip of the blade is too weak. So originally I was cutting this kind of preform out with a saw or an angle grinder. Now I'm able to forge it out, so I'm happy with my progress there. Still using all the same tools, same hammer, same anvil, same forge, but it's all technique. So happy with that. So we'll get the edge bevels in and should be good to go. Okay, so I think we got definitely enough curve there. It looks like too much, but I think once we lose that that very end there, I think it'll kind of balance itself out. So I think we're in good shape. Okay, so for setting up the tang, it's important to always put the spine of the knife on the anvil. So when you do a blow here, you're going to get a sharper angle, transitioning from the blade to the handle. That's something I learned from trying to make historically accurate Viking knives, and I've found with any sort of narrow tang or hidden tang knife, that's still a helpful way to go. Okay, so a couple points on burning through tangs. One thing you definitely want to do is have a pilot hole the entire length of how long you want the tang, and another point is to have a taper on your tang. So I kind of shape this to a point rather than having that kind of blunt end of the tang. And that goes a long way as far as getting able to burn it in, because this is what's driving through the through your pilot hole. So two reasons I see people failing at these things is either their tang is too big and they're trying to, you know, power it through, or they don't have a pilot hole. And you saw that I drilled that hole out, and then I opened it up with my saw, my Leatherman. There's a tool called a broach you can use for that as well, but this does the same thing. And that's kind of the third tip for a successful burn through tang. Okay, so we've got kind of a rough coffin handle shape here. So we'll just try to, on the grinder, I'm going to try to sand in some gentle tapers here. Okay, so I just used that old 60 grit to kind of establish some bevels, knock off the scale. So I already had the edge fairly thin, not super thin or anything, but I definitely don't. These things are really tricky to get straight in heat treatment if you get them too thin. So I'm going to switch on over to a 60 grit belt, maybe a fresh one or one that I haven't used much at all, and we'll kind of get in the rest of the bevels. Okay, so I've got the handle fit up to the blade here. Got some pins in there, and despite my best efforts, I got a little bit of wobble in the fit up of the guard. Just, you know, so the handle is now fixed in place because of the pins. So what I'm going to do here is kind of make a brass shim, basically a collar that's going to go in between the guard and the blade, and I will you know, fit that down so that I get a nice snug fit here. Other than that, I'm happy with the way this is shaping up. It's actually kind of a challenge trying to drill these holes in. This is the second knife that I have an issue with drilling the holes. It seems like this 80 CRV2 was a bit harder than it was supposed to be. It was not in an annealed condition, so I don't know if that happened from the forging. I had that issue with some 1/4 inch stock, and that was just on a stock removal project, so I don't quite know what's going on there, but I did manage to get the holes in there, so we'll go ahead and get this brass collar made. I purposely made these holes smaller than the diameter of the steel, so the idea is that I can file it to fit. So I got a little square file, and I'm going to connect all of these circular holes. Okay, so now I got through 4 of the holes there, so I can take a flat or small file and open these up a bit. Alright, there we go. Just need to expand that just a little bit more. Alrighty, so I finally got that brass fit up on there. Got some these are some old drill bits pushed through as pins, and yeah, now everything is nice and solid. Okay, so I'm trying to normalize this blade. Didn't want it to get too hot. We're just going to let this slowly cool down. And with this 80 CRV2, you're supposed to do this 3 times before quenching, so that's what I've been trying to do with these big Bowie knives. A little bit of a cooler day today. It's it's April 20th, and we're getting a little bit of a snowfall here, so it's fairly cold out. But we'll hang this up and let this cool the rest of the way. So I got a few other knives that I'm quenching today, but in between heats, when the blade is cooling down, I set my can of oil on the fire to heat it up, because I got to heat that up to about 120 degrees. Got a little bit of warping on that first section, or session. So now for the second one, I'll still let it cool down, but I'm gonna clamp it up so that it's straight. And so we can take a look right here. Looking pretty straight. So I've just got this candy thermometer that I stick in the oil and use to check the temperature. And I got a lot of oil in here, so it does take a little bit to warm up. Still got a ways to go. Looks like a lot of the slag exploded off, so that's good. Straightness looks good. I usually throw it in the vise just to play it safe. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Let that cool and we'll check the hardness. Let's see here. Yep, that's good to go. And just for a point of comparison, here's the tang. Whoops. And the file is 100% bound up on that. Switch back to the blade. No, it doesn't catch it all. And on the tang, it binds up because the tang is still soft. So good quench. So we're gonna get this in the oven and temper it at 350 degrees for 2 hours, and I'll do that twice. Okay, so I let the knife sit in some vinegar here overnight. So we'll take it over the wire wheel and see how it cleans up. Okay, so I wiped it down with some acetone, so here's where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this down with some cold blue, just to see if we can darken it up. I actually got my little spray bottle top on the bluing, so we'll see how well that works. Okay, so we've let the blade sit for a day. Usually gets a little bit more rusty than this, so we'll see how well it took. I had a little bit of issue with the spray bottle, if you noticed, so I've since thrown that out and gotten a new one. But we'll just neutralize the cold blue with some Windex, and we'll spray it or scrub it down with some steel wool and see what we got as far as a blade finish. And for obvious reasons, I like to do this process before I sharpen it. Okay, not too shabby, but there's a couple spots where it didn't take, so I'll probably want to do this again, to be honest. Alright, so now I've got the blade wrapped in a wet towel, got the guard fit up here, and before I do the sharpening or the handle install, I'm going to just attempt to do a little bit of a silver solder on the guard, just to try to kind of lock in the guard to the hilt. I've got a real tight fit up on the handle and all that with the brass, but I'm just going to give this a shot, see if I can improve the fit up of my guards here. Alright, so this is sufficiently cool now, and the definitely a pretty bad solder job there. I'll need a lot more practice on that, but I mean the guard's on there. I'm sure I could bust this if I wanted to, but this is just sort of an added bonus, something I'm going to try to improve on with these knives with the guards. I think it'll be fine either way. I've got a little bit of discoloration on the brass, so I'll have to try to clean that up. Obviously the heat discoloration on the guard itself too. So we'll try cleaning that up and we'll get the handle on there. But overall, I consider that a success, a good little experiment. Okay, and I got a bit of acetone on a Q-tip here, and we'll clean up this stuff around the guard here. Alrighty, so we got the handle all glued up and it's dried, so we'll just clean the glue off, grind these pins down, I'll sand it down, throw a coat of stain on there, and then we'll sharpen up the blade and it'll be ready for a sheath. Okay, and then I'm going to put some leather dye on there. This is dark brown, but it's going to make this a kind of a deep red, which is a pretty neat color. And this alcohol-based dye really penetrates deep and kind of brings out a neat luster to it. So I've kind of enjoyed using this on for the blade catcher buoys and things like that. So I think it'll fit in real nice with this one here. We'll wipe it all off the handle here. And we'll just let that soak in and dry fully, and tomorrow I'll come back and kind of buff it back with some real fine steel wool. Okay, so I've let the handle sit overnight. So I got some quadruple aught steel wool. Now we'll just polish this back, see what we got. So on this particular wood, seems to be taking on a little bit more of a brown color, even sort of a orange, which is interesting because on the oak that I've primarily been using it on, it's definitely a deep red. But doing this alcohol dye and then the steel wool really gives it a nice smooth finish. Not bad. So now we can go ahead and sharpen up the edge. Alrighty, well, yeah, this thing cut really well. Everything held up nicely, nice sharp edge, held the edge. Yeah, everything just came together real nicely. It's a really fast, nimble knife, even for its size. So that kind of 3/16 of an inch thick just sort of helps keep the weight down versus something that's a 1/4 inch. The extra long handle was, what the customer requested, but that really does help kind of counterbalance the knife. I don't really get hung up on the balance point, but it's got quite a bit of steel for the guard, so it puts that balance point a little bit closer to the guard than normal, but it just sort of helps balance it out. Let's see here, we'll just get a good, yeah, so a little bit forward of the guard. For this kind of large fighting knife, I like having that kind of forward weight, and you can really, especially for like a false edge cut where you flip it around, or you can use it like a medieval messer and do a false edge cut like that. It really just gives you some momentum with that, a quick forward strike. So big fan of that. The guard shape was the customer's request, so that was fun to do a bit of blacksmithing there and kind of practice my scroll work. The solder job on here, first time doing that worked out well. I mean, this is still rock solid and all that. It wasn't an extreme test by any means, but sometimes even just cutting water bottles, the guard will just get a little bit of wiggle in there, and I have to shim it. So this held up perfectly fine. Simple, very straightforward blade, but nice knife. I'm happy with the way it came out. Customer's happy with it. I mean, it's from the sounds of it, it's what he was looking for. So we're all good there. Customer also asked for the gunslinger type of sheath, which is just what I call my kind of drop down leg style. So I've got it kind of wrapped around the belt loop there, so it's actually nice and very compact. This is kind of my personal favorite sheath design of mine. Before I even got into knife making, this kind of big Bowie knife type sheath, I always just sort of like this look. So there's a lot going on. It looks cool. You got the concho, but it's all pretty functional. So there's a belt loop here, so you could actually put this on your belt as is and just wear it like this, no problem. We've got a loop here with the pull dot snap, so it'll only disattach in one direction, that upward direction. So it's the most secure snap style, so you can wear it on your belt. So this will only snap in the one direction. It'll only open up in one direction, so very secure system. I like to carry it so that the snaps are inside and not hitting the wood of the knife there. So that can be worn on the belt like that. And then the leg tie down with the drop down kind of leg feature with the snaps. This can go around the leg right above the knee, and it just sort of helps keep the knife from flapping around, keeps it right up with your leg. And so that can come all the way off, and I've got this metal baler or a square ring, and this I left enough of a gap that this can actually be removed from the sheath. Let's see if I can do this without too much trouble here. Yeah, so that can be removed. It's got some little little scrolls on the end just for a decorative termination, but also kind of helps keep this from coming off accidentally. So now you have just the belt loop if you wanted to go that route, but the using this sort of ring suspension method actually really helps keep the knife to your leg as you move and walk around. So I really like the way that this kind of works. So doing the milk jug slice, kind of getting 3 in a row just sort of helps check the edge alignment. Good straight clean cut means that I did a good job keeping that edge nice and straight. So happy about that. From doing the hanging milk jug test, it kind of helps check with the handling of the knife. So again, very quick and nimble in the hand. The handle's nice and rounded over, so comfortable. And with the taper going down to the guard here, with this as it widens out here, that really helps lock it in your hand and keep your hand from sliding off the knife. Kind of like a kind of one of the first palm swell ideas, if you will, of the 1800s. And of course, it's long enough that you can get a second hand on there if you really want to do some serious chopping. So all that worked out well, and I'm happy with the way that the Fibuling's leather dye works on the wood. So this thing got completely soaked when I did the hanging milk jug slices, and this, you know, held up well. Didn't take the die off or anything. That stuff really penetrates deeply and lasts a long time. So I'm going to coat this in some Brie wax before I send it off to the customer, and it should be good to go. Yeah, overall really happy with the way this turned out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me build this knife. You can follow my work on Facebook and Instagram. If you want a custom knife, check out my Etsy web store. I've got links in the description box. As always, I appreciate the support. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, be more Viking.